welcome to another FOTN review. This is for the fight of the night between Dustin, Poirier and Dan, which was the main event of a fight night last night, and good shit, all I'm going to say. Well, that and the fact that I actually have to try and review as best as I can, so we're going to try and break it down round by round, bit by bit, bob by bob, and yeah, you're going to hear my final thoughts and whether or not I liked it. Spoiler alert, I really did, so let's go. So round one starts out and it is very much a feeling out process, with Dan Hooker doing a lot of the pushing forward of the action. He does a lot more moving forward, walking Poirier down, and he starts opening up with some really good leg kicks. Poirier lands some really good counter body kicks. I will say that round one did have a really good bit of comedy, because two of Dan Hooker's inside leg kicks accidentally clipped Poirier's cup. He did it twice. And Bisping even noticed and said, "Come on, man, stop doing that." And Poirier pointed and actually said to Dan, "Listen to Bisping." And that got a laugh out of me. That was actually really funny. And Bisping just said, "That should be a life motto." It really should be. It really should be. Listen to Bisping. Anyway, yeah, the round was really, really great. Besides that, Hooker kept landing the leg kicks. He managed to step in, land some really good body shots as well. His body hooks and the conversions he made to the face were really, really great. Poirier did manage to turn it around though. About 2 minutes in, he landed some really big shots. He landed a huge hand and sort of backed Hooker against the cage, and the two put in some amazing clinch work too. They shared some they stayed in the pocket, and Poirier was definitely getting the better of it, which is good because that's where he works best. Dan Hooker is taller, he's got a longer reach, and he does a bit better fighting outside anyway, and it gives him an advantage when Poirier is the shorter opponent in this case. And yeah, Poirier did manage to find his opening though and get in and land some really good combos. It was really, really great back and forth. I think round one goes to Hooker narrowly though. I feel like he had the majority of it and he was just walking Poirier down a lot. But Poirier, he showed up, he did a great job in round one, and his combos, the moment he managed to get them in, they looked amazing. And yeah, the clinch work was consistently solid. Dan Hooker has a tendency to throw this sort of counter knee thing, and he was throwing that a couple of times in this first round, sort of as a warning sign. It is one of his best weapons, and he throws it a couple more times throughout the fight. But yeah, we're going to move on to round two. Now to two. Round two weirdly picks up where the main action of round one left off. It was really heavy brawling, and they both stayed in the pocket. There was some great clinch work. The two men were sort of back-to-back-ish. I think there was a moment in round two or round one where Poirier landed a right hook, and Dan Hooker managed to turn that around before Poirier could do anything else, and managed to get his back against the cage, which I think is what started the exchange near the end of round one. In round two, yeah, there was definitely a lot more of it. Poirier landing a lot of really great shots, Hooker landing some really good shots too. They were in the pocket, and they were really close to each other in range, and Hooker had Poirier against the cage, and Poirier landed these sort of side hammer fist thing. That looks wrong. It was he was landing hammer fists, but standing up, sort of like that, but in this mode. I'm gonna stop doing that. That just looks really fucking weird. But yeah, really good work from both men again, and eventually the action does break, and Hooker starts employing a strategy in round two, where he gets badly hurt and he goes for a takedown, and he gets a couple of these in round two. Poirier though has he's very strong for his weight division. He manages to stuff quite a lot of them, and that word was managers, by the way. It didn't really sound like it, but yeah, he stuffed a lot of Hooker's takedown attempts, and Hooker he kept coming in. He was a lot more badly hurt. I would give round two more to Poirier, but Hooker, he ate some massive, nasty shots from Poirier and just kept pushing forward. He didn't really care. I love that style. I say this in a lot of my videos when I cover a fight of the night. I love a zombie fighter who just eats punches and does not give a shit and will just keep going for you. Because those are the fights that scare me the most. You could throw a kitchen sink at them and it wouldn't do anything wouldn't do anything to them. But yeah, round two, I give slightly more an edge to Poirier, but Hooker did land some really good leg kicks. That was his really good strategy, and he followed it with, again, amazing bodywork, especially in the pocket. I've been saying that quite a lot in this video against the cage. He followed up some really good body hooks with some really good face punching, because that's the technical term for it. Really, really great work from both men, but I give it slightly an edge to Poirier for round 2. Round 3, the action does sort of start to dip for maybe the first, I don't know, minute or so, but the two are still throwing some really good shots. Poirier is doing a lot more of the moving forward now. Like, he opens a cut on Hooker's right eye around the eyelids, and luckily it is here where the blood can't get into Hooker's eye, but you know, if it were like more in the center, it would have been a lot more of a worst case because fights have been stopped over that. So I'm really glad that wasn't the case, and I'm glad that we got the full 25 minutes of this main event. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. But yeah, round 3, Poirier is doing a lot more of the pushing forward. He's opening up more opportunities for himself. He's landing some really good shots. He lands some really great hands. Really good jab setups. Really good body kicks too. He goes back to those. He wasn't doing them as much in round 2. But he was doing them a bit more in round 3, and Dan Hooker kept sticking with the leg kick, especially the outside leg kick. That looked really good for him. And eventually the two do get into another bit of a trade, and Hooker eats a big shot and he goes for a takedown, and Poirier counters it into a tight looking guillotine. One of the tightest I think I've ever seen, and Hooker just straight up pushes Poirier away from it and manages to get up on top of him and lands stays in the full guard and lands some really great ground and pound from that. Poirier throws up some really good submission attempts though. He goes for a couple of triangle shots, triangle choke, sorry. He goes for an armbar at some point. He doesn't fully land anything, and round 3 is very much like a solid ground battle. Hooker is definitely taking control because he's the one who landed the takedown. Poirier is going for the submission attempts though. He's landing some really good shots from the bottom as well. And eventually he manages to sort of get an no-plot position on Hooker, but Hooker manages to get up and they sort of finish the fight standing. Round 3 is extremely close because Hooker got the good takedown, but I feel like Poirier was throwing out more offense, so I think round 3 would probably go to Poirier personally, but I would argue that round 3 is when the fight started getting a lot closer. You know, I mean, rounds 1 and 2 were already close. Dan Hooker just narrowly got round 1 for me. Poirier just narrowly got round 2 for me. Poirier, again, just narrowly pinches round 3 for me. I thought his performance, both of their performances throughout this entire fight were fucking great, but yeah. Round 3 especially was when the fight started to get really close. Round 4, again, there's a wee bit of a dip in the action, but Poirier is definitely doing a lot more of the pushing forward, and he's just coming away with big shots. He's landing a really good amount of straight shots as well, landing some good body kicks. He does land a head kick. I forget which round it is. I think it's 4 or 3 that Hooker catches and manages to again turn into a takedown. This is sort of where Hooker starts to slow down. This is where Poirier starts pulling away with the fight a bit more. Hooker is just looking for really good counter takedowns, and he lands a fair few actually. He wasn't as successful earlier. I mean, he landed a couple in round. Well, I don't think he landed any in round 2. He might have landed 1 or 2. But yeah, he definitely landed a big one in round 3, and he gets a few in round 4 as well. But Poirier, being the genius that he is, he tries to turn it into guillotine chokes, he tries to turn it into really good counters, really good counter submissions, and he lands, he goes for quite a few guillotine attempts throughout rounds 3, 4, and 5, I would argue. But yeah, the two, obviously, there's some really good standing exchanges. Poirier lands some really good combos, there's a really good, 1-2 combo with his left hand that he lands. Hooker does, he does some really good stuff as well, obviously still keeping the leg kick on, still going for, takedowns. There is a moment where Hooker goes for a takedown and Poirier, he lands it, Hooker does. And they are sort of, against the cage, and Poirier is sort of, side-sprawling on Hooker's back, and he lands some really good, once again, that looks wrong. He lands some really good sideways ground and pound that looked like it could have ended the fight. Eventually Hooker does manage to get back up, and I think he catches Poirier with a knee on the way up as well, a really good looking knee. Some really good clinch work again from the two men. A lot of great grappling in round 4, not as much on the ground, but standing up. There was quite a lot of it. And yeah, round 4 I give more openly to Poirier. I feel like this one is one of the easier rounds to call. And it is where Poirier started pulling away with the fight, because he is the winner. I should spoil that for you now. He does win by unanimous decision. Unanimous decision. But, it is a very close and very exciting fight. And round 5 is basically sort of the previous 4 rounds all put together. There's some really great striking moments, but again, Poirier is the one doing a lot of the work. Hooker is like, I mean, both men are exhausted, but Hooker especially, he just doesn't look like he's fully ready for championship rounds. I don't think it might have just been because he was having the deep fried piss battered out of him. I don't know, but he still showed up. He still did a great job, and yeah, I feel like Poirier. Yeah, I feel like Hooker should get special mention. Well, special mention. He was, the other half of the fight. He was really good in the fight for just like eating so many punching shots from Poirier, who is not a weak man by any standard. Like, he's gotten plenty of like finishes with knockouts, more with his submissions. He is known more for his submission game, but it's not like he can't finish you just by punching you in the face a lot, because he can do that. But yeah, like Hooker, he managed to tank a lot from Poirier and still push forward, and he looked great. He looked great even in defeat, and Poirier, still, like, throughout the majority of round 5, he was stepping forward, landing some really great body kicks, countering and stuffing pretty much every takedown that Hooker attempted, and, just coming away with it looking a lot better for it. I feel like this, that's basically the end of it, and Poirier wins by unanimous decision. I feel like this fight, in terms of Dan Hooker's fights, is a lot better than the fight he had with Paul Felder, but that fight was also really good. And, yeah. Sorry, I was distracted. I thought that was rain outside. Is it? It is. Oh, that is a lot. So yeah. Throughout the fight, it was very entertaining, very exciting. I enjoyed it. There wasn't really many dips in the action besides those 2 groin shots and one moment in round 3, I think it was, where Hooker got his mouthpiece knocked out, but Herb Dean was the ref, and we all like Herb Dean. He stopped the fight and and gave Hooker his mouthpiece back, his gum shield rather, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, like the entire fight was just amazing. Could be in the top 10. I don't know what it is about these empty arena shows lately, but they've been absolutely knocking it out of the park with Fight Nights, and I feel like I'm going to be saying that for, hopefully not the rest of the year. I hope we do get fans in again eventually. But yeah, super exciting and enjoyable fight. I really enjoyed this one. So, not else to say. I will see you all soon. Maybe Tuesday, or because I don't want to do too many videos in a row. My point is, at some point in the next week, the final part of the Blondie mid-season backtracking Season 5 finale, part 3 of that, is going to come out at some point in the week. I think more importantly than that, though, there's going to be the Go Home Show for War of Attrition 2 on Tuesday, then War of Attrition 2 itself on Friday, and at some point in between that, Music of the Month for June. So, yeah, I'm still going to be busy, even though I'm going to be taking a break from backtracking after I've posted the next part of the Blondie thing. And as always, sorry I keep looking at the rain, as always, thank you for watching, you're awesome. Bye-bye.